Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hillcrest. Let's stand together and we're going to worship God and we're going to thank Him for all those big victories and all those little victories He gives us every day. The weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. 'Cause the God I serve knows only how to triumph. My God will never fail. Oh, my God will never fail. Sing with me. And I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. And I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. There's power in the mighty name of Jesus. And every war He wages, He will win. And I'm not backing down from any giant. I know how this story ends. Oh, I know how this story ends. And I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. And I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. And I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see that victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Amen.
Good morning. We want to thank you all for being here today. And if you're a visitor visiting with us at the Welcome Center, we have a gift for you. Just stop out there on the way out. There's also information on the Welcome Center. It's over on the right-hand side over there that's talking about what's going to happen in the old worship center and the older section with our children and youth over there. Pick that up, kind of learn what's going on. If you walk through there, you'll see some changes starting to happen already. Also, there'll be services here at 6 o'clock tonight. We'd like to welcome you to come. Teen Lark Ranch trip today, young people. They'll leave the church at 1. wear warm clothes, bring a mask. Yeah, Mark, I'm not even gonna fix that one. That's yours to fix, buddy. Wear warm clothes. Bring a mask, snack money. After ranch, we'll be heading back here to church for supper. Your ride, Kathy, you're killing me. I'm going to try to get through this. God bless you.
Teen trips ain't what they used to be, brother.
They're not. They're not. 7 o'clock, pick them up. On to the next one. Today, there's going to be a final merchandise order for the Teens Vertical Student Ministry logo. Forms are on the table in the foyer and at the point. WNNA this week, hang out, the meal at 6 o'clock, followed by a program 6:30 to 8. All of our Wednesday night studies resume this week at 7. Operation Children's Shoebox are available in the foyer. Complete your box and have it here no longer than the 15th. Trunk or treat. We'll be here next Sunday from 6 to 8. Come and join us. Also, there's a 24-hour prayer vigil that's going to happen November the 1st. If you haven't signed up to be a part of the 24-hour prayer vigil, we want to really encourage you to do that. The sign-up's over here. We're going to pray for the election. We're going to be praying for our church, be praying for our youth, be praying for our children, just praying through our church and our country at this time. We would really like to, especially those people that maybe wake up off and on in the night, grab one of them nighttime sections. We'd really appreciate that as well, or early morning sections. We'd appreciate that. But take some time to do that as well. Thank you for coming here this morning, and let's get on with worship, Mark.
Thank you, Jimmy. When I hear you sing this morning, we gave the band the week off since we couldn't practice. So sing up and let's share our voices before the Lord this morning. Let's sing Simplicity. I come in simplicity, longing for purity, to worship you in spirit and truth, only you. Lord, strip it all away, till only you remain. I'm coming back to my first love, only you. You're the reason I sing, the reason I sing. Yes, my heart will sing how I love you. And forever I'll sing, forever I'll sing. Yes, my heart will sing how I love you. I come with my broken song to you, the perfect one, to worship you in spirit and truth, only you. Give me a childlike heart, lead me to where you are. Oh, I'm coming back to my first love, only you. You're the reason I sing, the reason I sing. Yes, my heart will sing how I love you. And forever I'll sing, forever I'll sing. Yes, my heart will sing how I love you. Sing it now. How I love you, how I love you, how I love you. You're my first love. How I love you, will sing how I love you. And forever I'll sing, forever I'll sing. Yes, my heart will sing how I love you. Good singing this morning. Let's try this one. Is it in G? G?
Yeah.
That was matter of fact.
Yeah. I had to look. Yep.
Well, I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise, treasures that fade are never enough. Lord, then you came along, put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and faults. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. I like this part, 'cause the God of the mountain is still God in the valley. And there's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, oh, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing, you give beauty for ashes, you turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens, you turn bones into armies, you turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing, you give beauty for ashes, you turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens, you turn bones into armies, you turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Good singing this morning. Let's try one more before you're seated. One more before the message. Fellas, sing with me, and gals, sing with Karen. You are holy,
You are holy.
and you are mighty.
You are mighty.
You are worthy,
You are worthy.
worthy of praise. I will follow,
I will follow.
I will listen,
I will listen.
I will love you
I will love you.
all of my days.
All of my days.
I
You
will
are
sing
Lord of lords.
to
You are King of kings. You
the
are mighty
King
God.
who is
Lord of
worthy.
everything.
I
Oh,
will love
Emmanuel.
him,
You're the great
adore
I am.
him. I
You're the
will
Prince
bow
of Peace.
down
You is the
before
Lamb
him. I
of the
will sing
living God. You're my
and
saving grace.
the
You're the
King
King forever.
who
You
is
are ancient of
worthy.
days.
I
You
will
are
love him, adore him. I will bow down before him. You're my Prince of Peace, and I will live my life for you. You are holy,
You are holy.
and you are mighty.
You are mighty.
Lord, you are worthy, worthy of praise. I will follow,
I will follow.
and I will listen,
I will listen.
and I will love you
I will love you.
all of my days. I will sing to and worship the King who is worthy. I will love and adore him. I will bow down before him. I will
living God. You're my saving grace.
The
You are
King
forever. You are ancient of days.
I
You
will
are
love
Alpha,
and
Omega,
adore him.
beginning
I
and
will
Messiah,
bow down
Messiah,
before
Redeemer.
him. You're my Prince of Peace, and I will live my life for you. You're my Prince of Peace, and I will live my life for you. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning. We've been in Tennessee all week. I like Tennessee. Only negative thing I can think about it is you have to go through Kentucky to get there. But we had a good time, and I found a story that I wanted to share with you to kick off the sermon today about a farmer in Tennessee. This New York City lawyer went duck hunting in rural Tennessee, shot and dropped a duck on the other side of the fence where he was hunting. So he's preparing to hop over the fence to get his duck when this old Tennessee farmer rolls up on a tractor. And the farmer said, "What you doing?" And he said, "Well, I shot a duck and it dropped on that side of the fence and I'm going to get it." And the old farmer said, "No, you ain't." Said, "This is my property and you ain't coming over that fence." And the indignant lawyer said, "Listen, I'm one of the best trial lawyers in New York City, and I will sue you for every penny you own if I don't come over there and get that duck." The old farmer smiled and said, "Apparently, you don't know how we do things down here in Tennessee." He said, "We settle disagreements with the Tennessee 3-kick rule." And the old farmer said, the lawyer said, "What's the Tennessee 3-kick rule?" And the old farmer said, "Well, I kick you 3 times as hard as I can, and then you kick me 3 times as hard as you can, and then we just go back and forth till one of us quits." And the lawyer thought about it for a moment and thought, "Well, I can take this old guy any day." So he agreed to it.
Well, the farmer climbed down off his tractor, said, I'll go first. And he planted the toe of his heavy work boot right in the gut of that New York City attorney, knocked him to the ground. Second kick nearly wiped the nose right off his face. Third kick got him in the back, nearly wiped him out. Well, the groggy attorney struggled, but got to his feet, big smile, and said, okay, you old codger, now it's my turn. And the old farmer smiled and said, nah, I'll give up, son. You can have the duck. You know, if you're going to sacrifice for something, make sure the sacrifice is worth the making. That's the only moral from that story I can tell you. I've enjoyed this series. We're only 3 sermons in, and it'll take us through November, and I think Jimmy's going to do one of them. Jimmy will do Jesus Would Not Hold a Grudge. That'll be a good one later on in November. We've covered 2 to this point. Jesus would not throw stones. Jesus would not get too comfortable. And today, Jesus would not lose sleep in a storm. I could have chose from Matthew or Luke, but I chose Mark's gospel, and I want to read the story to you. And this is an incredible story. It'll be a simple outline, come right out of the story, probably a short sermon. Can I have an amen? I did say probably. So hang in there with me. Mark chapter 4. The day when evening came, he said to his disciples, let us go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was, in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat, so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern. Here's the key. Sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? He got up, rebuked the wind, said to the waves, Quiet, be still. 3 words. Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, Why are you so afraid? Still have no faith? They were terrified and asked each other, Who is this? Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. Now, Bible trivia question right from the jump here, and I love trivia. Who was it that suggested they go to the other side of the lake in the first place? Anybody? We read it. That would be Jesus. He said, let's get in the boat and let's go to the other side. Keep that in mind because that's key to the story. Now let's get our geography in place. The Lake of Gennesaret is also called the Sea of Galilee. If you see in the Bible, sometimes it'll use the word lake, sometimes it'll use the word sea. It's because it's too big to be a lake and it's too small to be a sea. So some of the Bible writers call it Lake Gennesaret, some call it the Sea of Galilee. It's 700 feet below sea level, making it the world's lowest freshwater lake in the world. And if you count the water that has salt in it, then it's the second lowest after the Dead Sea. It's 13 miles long. It's a pretty cool lake. 8 miles wide at its widest point. It's pear-shaped, a little bit wider to the north than it is to the south. It's around this lake here, that Jesus, most of his ministry took place. And it's where we find this story that we want to look at this morning. So here's a simple outline for you from this, and it's the first time I've outlined it this way. This is how Mama Fugate would say it when one of us finally fell asleep when we were little. You know, you try to hold on when you're a kid, and then finally you just give out, and that's what she would say. She'd say, Mark finally gave in. Well, here's my first thought. Jesus gave in. I'm glad this is in the Bible. There are certain things that cause certain people to go to sleep. Now, I have trouble sleeping. I've confessed that to you before. When I go to bed, and if I do fall asleep, it's short-lived, and I wake up, and I look at the clock all night. How many of you have trouble sleeping? Let me see hands. Now, be honest with me. For those of us who have trouble sleeping, that's one thing that bothers you. You can't sleep. You know what really bothers you? Is when people beside you can sleep when you can't sleep. Are you with me? And different things cause different people. I can read a little bit and be sitting up and nod off almost every time. But again, that's short-lived. But I don't sleep well at night. When you have babies, did some of you put them in a car seat and drive around the neighborhood trying to get them to go to sleep? For others of you, a big meal. That'll do it. You have a big meal, then you sit down, and it ain't long, and you are out. And let's be honest, transparent this morning, for some of you, it's sermons that can put you to sleep. And to be even more transparent and specific, it's my sermons that could stop nodding your head, Terry Taflinger. I had a guy, another minister in town when we were building the building here. He said, so how many can you hold up there at that building? I said, well, we can sleep about 500 comfortably. I preached a revival years ago and became pretty good friends with this young couple, and they had a baby. And a few months after the revival, I never thought I'd hear from them again, although I did enjoy meeting them and spending time with them. They called in the middle of the night. I guess I'd given them my number, didn't realize it. And I answered the phone, kind of groggy, and here's what they said. Brother Mark, we hate to bother you this time of night, but the baby has been sick, and he's been up crying for hours. We've tried everything. We were wondering if we put you on speakerphone, will you start preaching? So some things just put you to sleep. And I guess it's possible that the sea was so gentle that night that it just kind of rocked Jesus to sleep. That's possible. Probably a better answer, he's wore out. He's just dog tired. That's probably the answer, and that's why I'm glad this is in the Bible. The most popular man on the planet at the time was Jesus. People always pulling at him, needing his time. And not only was he healing and raising people from the dead and causing blind eyes to see, all the teaching and the preaching and the compassion that he showed. And in one sermon, he touched on divorce, adultery, lust, lying, turning the other cheek, praying and fasting, all in one sermon. And he never pulled any punches. Jesus acted like he knew all the answers, didn't he? Can you tell me why he acted like he knew all the answers? Because he knew all the answers, right? When you know them all, you can act like you know them all. And that's what he did. And he drew people from all over. Listen to Luke 6:19. Everyone tried to touch him. How about that? Not just some of them. Everyone tried to touch him because healing power went out from him, and he healed everyone. Luke 8:19. Then Jesus' mother and brothers came to see him, but they couldn't get to him. Why? Because of the crowd. So because of his compassion and the way he loved people, he was always constantly doing something for somebody. I would suggest to you, it wasn't that the sea was so gentle it rocked him to sleep that night. He was just flat wore out. The man was tired. And I'm glad this is in the Bible. Jesus gave out. Here's the second thought. The disciples gave up. Jesus falls asleep, and the disciples freak out. Here's how we read it in the opening text. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? You know what jumps out at us when we read this? The disciples come to Jesus. We got to believe they've already tried to fight the storm, right? They probably didn't wake him up right away. This is their last resort. I mean, we don't know exactly what they did, but they worked to keep the ship afloat. I love what Jenny Swanson's little guy said. She was tucking him in. He's 3 or 4 years old, and it was storming, and he hated the thunder and lightning and the wind. And as she was going out the door after tucking him in, he said, Mommy, can you sleep with me tonight? And she said, no, honey, I have to sleep with Daddy. To which he said, that big sissy. So the disciples come with a ridiculous question to Jesus. And I'll tell you right now, I've asked it before too. It's a ridiculous question. Here's the question. Lord, don't you care if we drown? That's got to be the dumbest question ever asked. We've established that Jesus is compassionate and cares more than anyone else who ever walked the planet. To ask that man, don't you care? His character never changed. Here's what I love about Jesus. You and I, we'll go through things, and our character will change depending on the circumstances. Jesus' character never changed. When he was hungry, when he's thirsty, when he's tired, when he's challenged, when he's questioned, when he's crucified, his character never changed. What was the first thing he said on the cross? Father, forgive them. They do not know what they're doing. And now that things have gone south for these disciples, their true character comes out. You see, what they said reads like a question. It's not a question. Lord, don't you care if we drown? That's not a question. That's a statement. And the statement is, Lord, you don't care. That's what they're saying. You don't care if we drown. Because you're the one who told us to get in the boat in the first place and to set out and to head to the other side of the sea. Have you ever asked that question? Have you ever thought that question? Lord, don't you care that my grandma is suffering with that disease that takes your memory away? Don't you care? Because if you did, Don't you care that my kid is held in the grip of addiction? Because if you cared, don't you care that cancer has come to my children way too early in their lives? Because if you did. See, I could be hard on these waterlogged disciples, but it's not just them. I've asked that question, but I know as soon as I've said it, I have no business asking that kind of question.